Hey everybody, good afternoon. My name is Dustin Strong. This is our Ask Me Anything Hour, where we answer any questions you have about nutrition. Today we have some questions about a vitamin B complex, a question about some probiotics, and what to do between races. So I'm going to start with the vitamin B. And if you guys have questions while I'm going along, please type them in so we can respond to them in the next video. We do these videos every Tuesday and Thursday, almost every Tuesday and Thursday, about 1:30, and they're going to be in a whole list below us of different videos you can watch. But let's talk about this vitamin B. The question is, we have somebody asking us about a particular product from a company called Standard Process called Cataplex B, and their question is, does it have all the vitamin B, the B vitamins that you need? And it's a really good question. And the answer is actually, it doesn't have all of the vitamin Bs that you need, but the interesting thing about it is it actually has a vitamin B that you don't see listed in any other vitamin B product. So that's what's really interesting about Cataplex B specifically. So nature just kind of naturally divides vitamin B into two categories. You've got alcohol-soluble ones and ones that are not soluble in alcohol. And the Cataplex B is pretty much all the ones that are going to be the alcohol-soluble vitamins. So it's the ones that are going to give you muscle tone and give you energy, and it's going to be the energizing end of the vitamin B spectrum. And so it does have vitamin B in there, and actually the other product I'm asked to review today has thiamine, or known as vitamin B1, in there. And it has all of that aspect of it. But if you want to do the other end of that and get the whole vitamin B complex, I would combine, if you're using Standard Process products, I would combine Cataplex B with Cataplex G, as in gold. Actually, it's named after Goldberger, so that's going to be the other end of the spectrum. And interestingly, since we're talking about racing coming up, I was, when I was younger, trying to figure out ways to make sure that I was running the race in the best possible way I could. And so I found a product that contains Standard Process's Cataplex G in it called Cardio Plus. 1/4 of that product is Cardio Plus. And I took it before the race, and it actually slowed me down a little bit because it's the relaxation end of the vitamin B complex. So it was a real experiential knowledge I had with that. But I do say, if I'm going to, what I do personally for myself to make sure that I'm getting both or all of the vitamin B complexes in my life, I do take Cataplex B and Cardio Plus. I usually take Cataplex B in the morning, and I'll take Cardio Plus in the evening. And as you can tell, one is to get me energy going in the morning, one is to help me relax at night. So that's what would really give you the whole spectrum there, to help you understand that. Now, vitamin B4, again, is not going to be one that you're ever going to find on an actual label, because it has not completely actually been recognized by the FDA as a vitamin. However, it is recognized for animals, but not yet for humans. So it's just interesting that it exists. The thing about that vitamin is it can't be recreated in a lab, and that's the problem. It's not the problem, it's just that's why it hasn't actually been fully recognized yet. It's not a chemical that they've been able to equate and recreate. And so when I'm looking at this next product that I'm going to review, I'm looking at the fact that we have a bunch of synthetic vitamin Bs, and that's why I am a little suspicious of taking this, because I always want a whole food source. When you look at these two products from Standard Process, they're actually from whole food sources, so you're getting all of the synergistic vitamins that come with it occurring in nature, as opposed to just taking one aspect of it and putting it into a product and qualifying it as vitamin B1, B2, B3, B6, B9, B12, B7. So these are all synthetically put in here, and that's why you're going to see really high percentages on what they're having as a percentage of your daily value. You're going to have thousands of percent of it because you're having such an isolated component of it. So when we're looking at this probiotic, that's one thing that I'm already kind of raising an eyebrow as to why I'd want to put those in there. I'm very careful about putting synthetic vitamins because I know that it can create an imbalance with what would occur with it in nature. But as I go down, there are 14 different species on here, actually subspecies, and the strain is actually located on here in this product, which is interesting. And this is where I feel like we kind of get a tiger by the tail situation. I do believe that we have to have probiotics in our life. I do believe that we should find ways to be able to get them into our system, but it gets a little more complicated than that when we start looking at specific strains. There are actually different microbiome types. And if your microbiome type doesn't necessarily include one of these specific strains, that could create another imbalance in your whole microbiome, and it can create a situation where you don't have what would naturally be best for you. And that's why it's always most important to create the environment for your probiotics, making sure that your colon has the correct pH, that you have the prebiotics to feed and support the probiotics that should be naturally occurring in your body. And if you have not been able to be naturally inoculated, like if you weren't breastfed as a child or that you were born C-section, you may need to seek out ways to be able to get inoculated with those probiotics that you missed in that experience. But that's going to take a lot more in-depth research specifically to the strains, and honestly, we don't have the science yet to fully understand all of those specifics. Now, I could take the time to go through each of these different species and strains and start to understand them for myself and whether or not they would be appropriate, but I personally wouldn't take this product for that reason. The probiotics that I have been taking, I'm very familiar with and I feel very comfortable with. And what I like about those, and one of the things I do like about this, is that they call it a synbiotic, and what that actually means, we had a question about that, is that you're combining probiotics with prebiotics, which is usually a much stronger way to present them to your body so that they can survive and they can thrive and they can set up cultures and establish, an actual presence in your microbiome. So typically you do want to present them with some type of prebiotic. And one thing that a lot of people don't really realize in all the research and the best time and place and everything to take a probiotic is actually taking them with a little bit of fat. So I typically make sure that I'm eating some avocado, which will also give some fiber, which is prebiotics for it as well. So just think about that, keeping that in mind. So when it comes to this product, and I'll list it below, I'm not saying it's a bad product, I'm not saying it's a terrible product, and it may help with some of the things that it's saying it will help with bloating and whatnot, but I would try to be a little more specific than just taking this as a little bit of buckshot in a way of a lot of things, and the fact that it has the synthetic vitamins at the top does make it something that I personally wouldn't take. That doesn't make it a terrible thing. Okay, what's that?
What's it called?
It's called 365, Symbiotic 365. And again, I'll put the link below so you can take a look at it for yourself. And finally, sports recovery shakes. We have a lot of people asking some really interesting questions, and we have someone who's going to Florida to run 2 races in a couple of weeks. They're running a 12 to 13 mile race on a Saturday, and then they're going to turn around and do a 3 to 4 mile race on Sunday. They only have 15 hours between races. This is a really interesting question, and actually I'm going to send you a little more detailed answer in that because I know you specifically, and I want to make sure I'm giving you absolute support. But I had created a while ago a couple of different shake recipes, and I will send this to you in that link. There are some that you want to take, and you want to take them about 3 hours before the race. So that's before both races. You really want to give your body everything it needs to be able to have the fuel to go, and that's going to have we have a couple of different protein powders that we typically are going to suggest, and it's going to be somewhere around 20 grams of protein in there. A lot of good whole mineral water, some coconut oil, hemp hearts, flaxseed oil, some berries, and Celtic salt, sea salt actually. When I was actually running my marathon, I was taking Celtic sea salt while running because I was sweating it out. So when you're going to be running 12 to 13 miles, you might want to keep a little pouch on you. And as you're drinking water, put a little bit of that salt in your mouth as well so that you don't lose all your electrolytes. The electrolytes are really important. And then afterwards, you want to replace those with some more electrolytes, a little bit of juice. But I will send this to you specifically, who asked. But I would also think about doing like a mineral salt bath after the race to help kind of absorb some magnesium back in and help your muscles to be able to relax to prepare you for the next day. And I would take the Cardio Plus after the race to be able to rebuild the muscle, repair the muscle, and help give your body what it needs to be able to relax, recover, and have a good night's rest so you can get up in the morning and have a nice easy run and make sure that you get that other smoothie in there 3 hours before that so you have plenty of time to digest it and be ready to rock and roll. Okay, hope that's really helpful, and I guess I said I will send you specifically these recipes, and anybody else wants to know about them, I can give you those as well. And if there are any other questions, please keep them coming. We really appreciate the questions you guys are giving us. Hopefully this information is helpful for all of you out there. But remember, the biggest takeaway from today is making sure you're observing how things occur in nature and being careful not to just go for synthetic versions and getting them from whole food sources. It's going to be the most powerful change in your nutrition focus that I could possibly give you. Okay, thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you on Thursday.